Dragonfly TV, real kids doing real science.
I'm Carolyn. My friend Kalia and I used forensic science to solve a birthday party mystery. I didn't think too much about crime until this weird thing happened on my sister Lizzie's birthday. Kalia and I got home after practice and everything was really a mess.
The cake was half eaten. The decorations were trashed. Bright red stuff was dripping off the table. It kind of looked like a crime scene. But who would want to wreck Lizzie's birthday party? We'd both done some forensics in school. You know, when you use science to analyze evidence from a crime. So we made a plan.
Were we going to stand by and let a young girl's day be ruined?
It was time for ordinary kids to become forensic scientists. It was 10:30 on a Saturday morning. Without disturbing any evidence, we roped off the crime scene and got to work.
Look at this mess.
There are presents on the floor, but they're still here, so it probably wasn't done by a professional. Oh, the soda-like substance is all over. It smells like cherry.
Hey, this is like some sort of fiber or hair. We should bag it, you know, it might be evidence. Gross. The cake, there's like spit all over.
No way, that's cool. It's hardcore evidence. Like DNA, you know?
Oh, that's disgusting. Hey, look at this note. It looks like it's from your mom.
And look, there's a part that's crossed out.
I wonder what it says. Look at the patio door. It's opened.
We had a lot of evidence to examine, and the party was at 5 o'clock, but we couldn't move ahead without fingerprints.
Good thing I learned how to lift fingerprints from my uncle, who's a cop.
You dust the area with a powder, like charcoal dust or paint powder. Then you lift it with packing tape.
Lifting fingerprints was a lot harder than I thought.
And the prints all kind of look the same.
But we know every human fingerprint is different, so we're going to blow the prints up to compare them. We had no eyewitness reports, so we interviewed the people who were around the house.
We took their fingerprints, hair, and saliva samples to compare to the evidence from the scene. Suspect number 1, also known as Dad.
My dad's a chocolate junkie. Recently, he's been spotted sneaking around the kitchen, filling up on junk food, and then assigning blame to us kids.
Suspect number 2, Crispy D. Clown. He delivered the balloon bouquet at approximately 9:30 a.m. Since suspect number 1 was in the middle of his shave, he showed the clown to the kitchen and left him unattended.
Suspect number 3, Lizzie, my little sister. It was Lizzie's 8th birthday. She was up early and had already been caught snooping around her presents. Lizzie refused to answer any questions until she spoke to her mother.
Joey is Lizzie's best friend. She has an affinity for cherry soda, so we asked about her cherry-colored mustache at the time of her interview. She claims she had badly chapped lips.
Our final suspect is Nellie, the teenager who lives next door and sometimes babysits Lizzie. Nellie is a family friend who has keys to the house. She really makes herself at home. Nellie's around all the time, even though she is allergic to our dog. We didn't want anyone tampering with the evidence, so we moved our crime lab to Kalia's house.
So who do you think has the best motive?
I don't know. They probably all like cake. It's gotta be Lizzie. She just couldn't wait for the fun to start.
I bet it's that nosy neighbor, Nellie, of yours. She probably just lost control and went after that cake.
But we were speculating like mere detectives. It was time to use forensic science to deliver the facts.
We'll compare suspects' fingerprints, hair, and saliva to crime scene evidence.
Stay tuned to find out who's guilty. It was 2 p.m. on my sister Lizzie's birthday, and we were still in the dark about who had ruined her cake.
We had interviewed the 5 prime suspects and taken their fingerprints, hair, and saliva samples. Now it was time to put forensics to work by comparing these samples to the crime scene evidence. Every fingerprint has patterns of arches and swirls in different places. We matched the ones we found at the crime scene to the ones we took from our suspects.
Crispy's fingerprints didn't match any that were at the scene.
So he was partially cleared, but remember, he could have been wearing clown gloves.
Dad and Lizzie's matched to the crime scene, but they live in the house.
Yeah, those prints could have been from days before.
So that didn't tell us that much. The print we found on the cup matched Joey's, and the one on the doorknob was Nellie's thumb.
That's suspicious, even if she is nosy.
Well, this is great. It's narrowed it down to Dad, Lizzie, Joey, or Nellie. This doesn't really tell us much.
Well, I guess we'll move on to fiber then.
Good idea.
Exhibit B, the fiber.
The fiber looked like someone's hair, but in forensics you can never assume. It might have been a thread from someone's clothes or something else. We compared it to hair samples from our suspects. These 2 samples don't look any different, they just look like shadows.
You know, we compare fibers in class once.
You mount the fibers in homemade slides, and then you shine a laser pen right through the fiber. When it hits the wall, you get a pattern of bright and dark dashes. We figured out that the size of the spaces in the patterns depends on the thickness of the hair. The thinner the hair, the wider the spaces. We traced the patterns of all our hair samples to see if there was a match to the one we found at the scene. The crime scene fiber was 5.7 centimeters. That's smaller than all of them. That must mean that the hair is pretty thick. We still didn't know the source of the crime scene fiber. Maybe it wasn't human.
You know, I think this note is really suspicious.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this blacked out part. I once saw on a TV show that you could take a home video camera with night vision and videotape it, and it would show writing that's been scratched out with ink. Oh, check it out. P.S. Keep Lizzie outside today.
Oh my gosh, it really worked. Things don't look good for suspect 3.
It was getting late in the day. We needed to compare the saliva samples to the cake crumb spit. I called my cousin who did DNA testing in biology and asked for her help. Meanwhile, I confronted suspect number 3.
So what do you have to say for yourself, Miss Possibly Birthday Cake Eater? You have a history of present snooping. Your fingerprints were found on the door and table. You scratched out the sentence in Mom's note. And Joey admitted that you were left unattended inside the house.
My cousin gave me the rundown at the lab, and I got to work. First, for small DNA samples like these, you have to grow them. It takes a couple of hours.
Fine, I admit it. I was trying to play outside, but I knew my presents were just sitting there, and it was driving me nuts.
When I went inside to get the ball, I knew Dad was busy upstairs, and the presents were just staring at me. I shook a couple up and even tried to unwrap one. I read Mom's note, but didn't want Dad to bust me, so I crossed out the last sentence. I didn't think anyone would notice.
But I did not eat my birthday cake.
We ran some tests on our DNA samples, which let us see each one's distinct band patterns.
Wait, I don't think there's enough lines here. It looks like the crime scene sample is missing.
Oh, okay. I think I know what's going on here. Let's go label it first.
All right. Okay, so this is what the lines should be. We have the crime scene sample, but it's empty. We have Lizzie's, Joey's, mine, Carolyn's.
And we took a sample from Carolyn's dog Sammy just in case, but there's no pattern there either. What's up with that?
This test only works for human DNA.
Oh, I get it. Okay, Carolyn's not gonna believe this.
Talk to me.
The DNA evidence was a big surprise. Lizzie and Joey's DNA did have a band pattern, but the crime scene sample didn't have a pattern at all.
What?
But one other saliva sample didn't produce a band pattern. It was from your dog, Sammy.
Sammy?
Yup, the crime scene DNA wasn't human.
So, in Lizzie's hurry to leave the party table, she must have left the patio door open, which allowed Sammy here to come into the kitchen and commit his own crime.
Yeah, no wonder only the lowest balloons were knocked over. Sammy, use a fork next time, and you'll fool everyone.
Dragonfly TV, real kids doing real science.